when we rise. Ever since departure.
Well, hi, and my great brick wall here. Hi, yes, it's the Allison Arngrim Show, and I'm Allison Arngrim. Some of you may remember me as evil Nellie Olson from Little House on the Prairie, but tonight I'm Allison Arngrim, and this is the Allison Arngrim Show. And here on the Allison Arngrim Show, we talk about things that make you feel good, the movies and television shows that made us feel good, and the people who made them, and people who are doing things now to make the world a better and more interesting place. And oh boy, do I have one tonight. Now, you know, I always get excited when I have someone I know on, or I have someone who's like a friend of mine on. So I'm like, ah! We all love cartoons. We love cartoons. As I drop things on the floor. See, that's how excited I am. Yes, I have on David Levy. And if you've watched cartoons, you probably have seen something that he directed or animated or worked on. He's also an author. He's written actually a couple books now. But he wrote this really amazing book called Your Career in Animation, How to Survive and Thrive, and you know, how from pitch to project and everything. But he's done a sequel. Look how thick it is. It's much bigger than the other book. So he's written this in Your Career in Animation, and I love it because yes, it has all this talk about what to do if you want to be in cartoons, you want to become an animator, you want to become a director of animation. But all of the things he talks about, all the advice he gives, are completely applicable to any career in show business or really any career at all. So I have with me indeed David Levy, who is the author of Your Career in Animation. But let's see, he has completed 6 award-winning independent animated films. He has been president of ASIFAE since 2000. He's taught animation at Parsons School of Design, School of Visual Arts, New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, etc., etc., etc. He's over at Disney, hello, Disney, and has worked on such amazing cartoons as, yes, the sweet and adorable and innocent Blue's Clues and the completely obscene Assy McGee. And I just, every time I say Assy McGee, I like burst out laughing that this even existed, that there was a show called Assy McGee. And you actually worked on that. David, welcome. Welcome to the Allison Arngrim Show.
Oh my gosh. It's so nice to be here, Allison. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a thrill. So I can't wait to chat and talk about all kinds of stuff.
Gosh, what did was it like my birthday party? Was that like the last time I laid eyes on you?
I think so. I know we used to, had the benefit of meeting for lunch every so often to talk about projects and pitches and ideas and to meet at different networks where we pitch shows. But yeah, it's just been too long a time.
We've been locked in our houses. Indeed, we were running around studios because indeed that's the whole thing, talking about pitching. And I learned so much about pitching because he said, okay, let's bounce off some ideas and we come up with something and then we'll go pitch it. And next thing I know, I'm like walking into all of these huge studios and heads of animation at all these cartoon houses, everything from Nick to, to Disney. And I go, oh my God, where are we? And it was a scream. We had so much fun. It was so much fun.
Absolutely. And it's really, in animation, I know we're still trying to find that right project for the right partner in terms of stuff we've worked on together, but it's totally going to happen. And it's always just a matter of time because really, like when you said my book was applicable to any showbiz careers, it's really because it's about developing yourself. It's about not waiting for anyone to make you anything, but it's about like the opportunities you can set up for yourself, like all the things you can put out there. And, there's no expiration date on that stuff. So even if things take 5 years, 10 years, to me, that's not the important part. It's just doing it is what gets you there.
Right. And animation, like everything else, it's you talk about that a career in animation is usually not a straight line. Mm-hmm. It's one of your good quotes is that you don't know what's going to be the thing. Like with being a writer, being an actor, anything, you don't know what's going to be the thing that you're going to get signed for, that's going to take off, that's going to be no idea.
Yeah, it's true. And I'd say, but the ones that tend to be like a breakthrough, whatever it is you're doing, often have something of yourself, some story you need to tell, something you need to express. It's not just because you looked at trends and figured out what's the right, algorithm to get to people. Like it's really about opening up something inside you, which obviously you did with your book, your incredible Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, which is so personal and so, but so universal, right? It's like, I think when you do that, you're letting in so many people because we all relate, to something in there.
And that's a good point you bring up, because I think a lot of people see cartoons now and they see what's happening in TV, and they see what, the Adult Swim, the kind of the grown-up cartoons like the Assy
Mm.
McGee and all of these things. They think, well, is there a formula for a hit? And they are going with the algorithms and what is everyone else doing, and I've got this idea, it's going to be a hit. And I don't think that's what drew you into what drew you to wanting to be in animation.
With me, like, well, my father was in advertising, so it was related-ish because he was in the commercial arts. So I would tell my friends, my dad's an artist, and so he got paid to be an art director, for like the big agencies on Madison Avenue, and he created the Cavity Creeps Crest toothpaste commercials that we were on, probably during Little House on the Prairie. Those commercials were on. Yeah, for like
Cavity Creeps, yes, okay.
Nuts. Yeah, so he had that little moment in animation, and he actually visited the studio that made those cartoons in New York, and kind of gave them some direction. But it wasn't really the same thing. He couldn't give me specific advice, but I didn't have to look too far to know I could potentially make a living in some kind of art. So, but for me, it was really animation was my passion from a really young age. That's all I wanted to watch, and it's all I wanted to do. And as soon as I got my hands on the old Super 8 camera that my family still had that worked, and a camcorder, one of those first VHS clunky giant ones that put on your shoulder and gave yourself a back pain. I've shot animation on those when, instead of going out and dating in my teen years, I was doing films in my basement. So I had the desire, the passion, the drive, and it's all I ever wanted to do. And the funny thing is, a guidance counselor in high school was horrified by this because he said, I don't understand what you want to do. And I said, cartoons, Disney, Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny. And he said, those are for kids. I said, right, but adults make them. Adults make
right. Somebody has to make the cartoons. They're not made by children. Yes.
Yeah, it was very strange. So I couldn't convince him, but he told me I needed a backup plan and I should have several backup plans. And I never made a backup plan, and I'm still okay with that, because I really just had one talent, or one one thing I wanted to do with my life. But here's the funny part. If I wrote this book on careers in animation, my career is very much like, okay, I've written some stuff, I've gotten paid as a development writer, I've written some books, I've made independent films, I've directed preschool shows and Adult Swim shows, and there's a lot of different threads in there. And to me, it looks like one career and one general all connecting path. But if you're like a headhunter or a recruiter in Hollywood animation, you look at that and you go, I don't know what this guy's about. Like, where does he fit? Like, because they want specialists. So, it's a blessing and a curse depending on what I'm going after.
Well, I don't think Walt Disney had like a second career, like a backup plan. If it doesn't work out, if the thing with the mouse doesn't work out, I'm gonna, go wash dishes. Yeah, you have a dream and you pursued it, but it's true. You do things like, the Blue's Clues, it's Assy McGee, and the stuff we were pitching was all very much targeted at very, very young children and involved, bunnies and possums and kittens.
Exactly.
Which seems very you, really, personality-wise. Is there much of a difference, really, when it comes down to it, on working something that is more targeted to children and something that is very different? And you talk about now with Disney Plus, there's your Star Wars type stuff and anime stuff. Is there really much of a difference once you're actually working on it between any of these things?
Well, there shouldn't be a difference in terms of, how you want that project to just have its own life and to be as great as it can be, and just make the best thing you can possibly make within all your limitations and resources and money and time and talent involved. So they all get the same amount of care and love, whatever you're working on. And I think the differences, like that you're hinting at, I think are in preschool stuff tends to have longer scenes that stay on more of establishing shots, because they don't want to throw off the very young audience, because there's often like an age range, so it could be 2 to 5 on some of those shows. So they know there's 2-year-olds watching, maybe even younger, and if they start on a cut to a new location that's not established with a little care, that kid might be confused and kind of disconnect from it, right? So there's a different pace and a different level of visualizing the material and kind of how to communicate that to the audience when it's really young preschool. But as the audience ages, so even if you've got like a bridge show, which is kind of a term we use in the industry that could be like 5 to 7, 5 to 8 like older past preschool, but not, really not tweens yet. Then they can probably handle flashbacks and different devices
Dream
that we take
sequences.
for
What's
granted.
like
Yeah,
when
dream sequences,
yeah,
right?
little kid, like when you're 6 or 7, you see cartoons. Oh, they're having a dream. But that was something that blew my mind when we were pitching, because we talked to these people and they go, well, we're handling cartoons ages 2 to 4. And then they go, we do only cartoons ages 5 and 6. And we do 7 and 8. And I'm going, whoa, it's like broken out this narrowly. And they're like, yeah. And that we see cartoons and we just think somebody threw this together. And it's like, no, not only was it a lot of hard work, but the people who put them on have focus groups with parents and children and child psychologists. They actually are worrying about what they show our children. They are actually sitting down and going, well, what is this? And is this appropriate for this age group psychologically? Will they understand it? Is it funny to people who are this tiny? And so there's a whole lot more background and thought going into cartoons than most people realize.
Definitely. Yeah. And just like you just said, like, is it funny to that audience, to that age? That's something, we don't think about too much, but if you do work in the different genres, or I should say the content for different audience ages in animation, you do realize, oh, puns don't really work in 2 to 4, because that's a more sophisticated thing. Even if puns are never really funny, we could argue that. I like making them. It's fun to see people groan and react. But it just won't mean much to, you could do like eggs, you could do egg puns if you have an egg themed episode and say, that's excellent. And, oh, don't keep me running, or, or all kinds of egg jokes, but they won't really land for like a 2 to 4 year old.
They got to be like 6 or something. And then
yeah. So those are nuances that obviously are. So if you went in pitching a 2 to 4 project to a network and it was all pun, it was puntastic, they would probably look at you askew, because, those network executives know that doesn't really work for that audience.
You worked on Blue's Clues, which of course was hugely successful. And had mixture of live action and cartoon, and I love Blue's. By the way, so explain, how did that happen and what was that like? Because everybody's seen Blue's Clues.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I came in, they still had 5 more episodes to finish for season 1, but it wasn't a phenomenon yet. It wasn't like a joke on Saturday Night Live. Like Jimmy Fallon wasn't referencing it yet. He was about to, I think, in the next year. It wasn't, part of the zeitgeist or pop culture, but it was connecting with parents and young kids. I didn't even have cable at the time. I was looking for work, and yeah, seriously. And I was in animation. I had just gotten laid off. I had a bunch of contacts and great relationships, thankfully, already in my first 2 years in the business. And one of them was a woman, Nancy Keegan, who's amazing. She's now works for Lego, but she was working at Blue's Clues, and she said, oh my gosh, you should come down. I think they're going to be hiring soon. Come meet the producers. So I got an invitation, just show up and, with her blessing and be led around by Nancy, who was very respected, on the show. So I met the creators of the show that day. I met the supervising director, Dave Palmer. They were also nice, and they said, oh yeah, we're going to be hiring storyboard artists. Why don't you take the test? So I got this script. They gave me this chunk of script, which was like 20 pages, which is a really big test, because a half-hour Blue's Clues episode might be like 30 pages. So I got like the majority of an episode to storyboard out to test on for free, which later they dialed that back. But they were such a new production, they didn't know how much to give someone who was auditioning.
Everything wasn't a do not tell anyone order. You weren't signing documents. Everything wasn't top secret. Blue's Clues wasn't that big a hit yet. It wasn't oh my God, you're not allowed to see the script. We can't even tell you the title of the show.
And I didn't even know if I was working off a script that hadn't been produced yet. They didn't tell me, and I felt I didn't want to ask because I didn't want them to think I was judging them ethically, about that. So I just oh sure, this is the script, great, I'll come back in a week. So, and then I ordered cable. I ran home, got Time Warner cable connected. I'm like, I gotta look at this show.
I got a job. I gotta order cable so I can see what the hell I'm doing.
Research. So yeah, and of course a good tax write-off too. But I had to watch the show, and then I watched it like crazy. I was taping them, and I did the test. I handed it in, and then I didn't get hired for like 3 months. And then finally, I'll just, because we were saying earlier about making your own luck or opportunities, your own path. So I had this thought. I was in my, pajamas in this my first apartment. My rent was going to be due, and I thought, how do I get them to move on this? Like, don't they still want me? They seem to like my test. And so I called up one of the creators of the show, Tracy Page Johnson, and I left her a voicemail. I didn't get her on the phone, so I just said on the voicemail, I said, I still love the show. I know it's been like 3 months since we talked, but I keep watching it. And I just saw the one where they go to the jungle, and I love when the butterfly landed on Steve's face. And I just mentioned like 3 things, and it was a very quick call. It wasn't like, wow, this is taking an hour to, I just kept it short and sweet. And I just said, I really appreciated meeting you all. Hope you're having a good, week. And then my phone literally rang 30 minutes later and said, we're ready to hire you. So like, I kind of like nudged them a little bit, like just like very respectfully, I think. And I got it. So then I ended up, long story short, working on the show for the next 8 years, and I grew with the show. I did storyboards for 2 years, which was really fun because Steve Burns, our live action host, I would have to be in all the walkthrough rehearsals. So I had my script, and I would hear him say all the lines with the writer and the creators, and we'd flag anything in that's a clunky, maybe we need to rewrite that, or I would worry about the staging. How am I going to storyboard that? And it was really fun. And I'd go on set when my episodes would shoot. I'd go on what was blue screen, because he wore a green striped shirt, so we had to use blue screen. Then I switched to animation, and which led to directing there, because the show was 8 years long, and I started to feel like, well, this is a really comfortable gig, and I know storyboards for this show, but if I want to keep coming into work and giving my best and keep evolving, like I need to like keep learning, and I can't just stay in storyboards. So I did transition and get to do more things there. But that's the benefit of working on a show for 8 years, right? It's like Michael Landon on Bonanza or something. Like he's eventually writing it and directing it, and
Right.
But maybe he didn't do that, in season 1. But
But that's interesting, because you talk about the evolving, that here you were even on a great gig where you had the gig going, but what can I do differently? Yeah, okay, I've done storyboards, and now what? And that's something you talk about in the book. And as I said, even the first version I thought was amazing. Now, why the sequel?
Well, this was a book. So version 1 I started writing it in 2004. So if you're writing a career guide, and there's no smartphones, and there's no streaming services, and there's no social media really,
Right.
there's definitely things like Newgrounds was like an early YouTube, and there were other things that were probably happening that I was or wasn't aware of, depending on what they were. But it wasn't like it is now. And like, so just that alone, the fact that like, look at this pandemic year we're all living through, how it's all gone virtual. Like I need, it'd be great to have a book that was relevant to people today in the industry to speak to those things, and plus like the whole idea of inclusion and diversity, and the Me Too movement, and like those were not even notions that I thought about in the first book. And to my own regret, I felt I had a good message, and I certainly wasn't trying to alienate anyone. But when I think about the world I'm trying to help and build now with everyone else, who's trying to, like, there's so many ways we can do that. And I think refreshing this book was another way to kind of put that conversation out there too.
Well, that's true. The world has drastically changed in just a few years, and the industry has changed, thank heavens, because it was slow going. But yeah, the changes, I mean, when I look at just a few years ago, I think 5 years ago, God forbid, 10 years ago, where our relationship with the internet was. And then, of course, with the pandemic, prior to the pandemic, I did not know what a Zoom call was. I had done a Facebook Live once. I'd Skyped twice, I think, and now I like live here, like in my phone in my living room. And
Your
it's
cat is like, don't you leave the house anymore?
All these platforms, I'm on everything, and it's like this would have been inconceivable like 3 years ago. So yeah, things have really changed. But we're still doing a lot of the same elements are there. Like you said, it's about actually having an idea of something creative for the cartoon, not just saying, well, this tests well in a group. I know that you have like, and this is the way you've broken out the book too is nice, because it's easy to read, as you said, but you can really start anywhere in any chapter if you need to.
Skip around. My feelings won't get hurt.
Animation career strategy survival list. And I'm sorry, this is a survival list for any career you have, because the first one, it says here, make a copy of this and put it on your fridge. Yes. Keep growing as an artist, storyteller, or production professional. Never stop learning, set goals, work each day toward creating the career of your choice. Yes, that's everything. The animation or not. And you listen, we're talking about getting into the animation community, plug into the community, stay inspired by surrounding yourself with your heroes. If you're working outside of the field to pay bills, make a list of goals to accomplish each week. This applies to absolutely anything. You're a musician, an actor. It's all of the above.
That makes me happy to know.
I was going to say, did you realize you're making it this universal, or were you really saying, well, this is how it is for people in animation? I mean, did you say, well, I'm going to write this so that actors, musicians, painters all get the same message, or did you just like, well, this is how it is, and oh, look, wait, it applies to everything?
Wow. I think, like you're hitting upon something. I think the creative community, writers, artists, sculptors, fine arts, composers, just any number of comedians. Like, yeah, it really is like a hustle. Make your own way, kind of, stay on track lifestyle, and it really begins and ends with yourself. Like there's so many things that are going to arrive and that look like they seemingly were ready for you and just like came along at the right time for you to kind of grab onto. But those are all things you were ready to do, or ready, those are opportunities you were ready to take because of all that groundwork you built. So I do think that that does sound natural to me, that would be applicable to any creative life, and that's a really nice thing.
Well, and one of the things I always keep telling people is the old one about, opportunity knocks, but you have to get your ass off the couch and go answer the door.
Oh yeah.
and that's the thing. You have to be ready for what if the call comes. It's like, are you ready? Do you have the, and so you have to be ready for that thing to happen at that time. Sometimes opportunities come and you're not in that place to take that.
Yeah, I share in the book like something that happened to me in college. One of my professors, his name was Mark Heller, and he one day just said, "Hey, I got a gig. We're doing a Land O'Lakes butter commercial, and I need some inking on it. Can you help me out? I only can pay you $6 an hour, but it should probably take you just 20 hours, and I'll give you the supplies and the paper and this. Could you do it? And I need it done, in a week." And he went to me, and there were 30 students in that class, and I was by far nowhere near the top artists in that class. I wasn't even the middle. I was probably low, just below middle in terms of my abilities, but my engagement was off the charts. I was like really wanting to be there every day. I brought questions with me. I wanted critiques on my work. I tried my hardest, even if I wasn't ready to shine. And it's that notion of where he sees something in me and he's going to trust me with this, where I'm not the best hand in this room. Then that gave me so much hope, because I just felt like, it's not just one thing. Like we have to like develop our full selves, and even if you have a deficit in one area, and you're shining as bright as you can in other ways, that's going to matter too. It's like this combined, bring your whole self, right? Like, and it was a big moment for me.
Yeah, there might have been people who were better artists, but it's like you look like you would show up and get the job done.
Right. And then and then some of my colleagues in school made it easy, because the best artist in the class, who was so good, I just would look at his sketchbook all the time, but he would pick his nose and wipe it on the wall while he talked to you. And it's art school. Well, it was art school.
Art. Oh yeah, this is true. This is true. I have friends who went to art school. Like, yes, art school.
But that's the kind of thing yeah. So yeah, I there was no risk I would do that. So
we know he won't pick his nose. Points. But yeah, that's the thing. That so many other factors play into it, and that's a thing I know as an actress in show business. It's like, well, I gave the best audition, yes, but they wanted someone whose physical looks worked better with the guy playing the husband or the kid. And especially as a kid actor, you are hired because you'll look like the parents. They've hired the parents first, and do you look like the parents is going to be like half the battle, even if you're.
Oh my gosh.
So
there's going to be days where that works for you and days it doesn't, and that's not your fault when it's not the right fit, right? If you don't look like the parents they're casting.
So there's always multiple factors involved, and that's when it's, because again, it's sort of a subjective thing. It's art. So even when, and I saw that with our pitching, like we go in the studio, and yes, some of it was very clear cut business. Well, this needs to be 2 to 4, and your thing is more 5. Or, oh, you have a bunny. Yeah, yeah. We just signed someone and a cartoon. It's all bunnies, so we can't do any more bunnies this week. No more bunnies this week. Do you have any kitties? And it was sometimes it was a formula business, and then other times it absolutely was. I like this. The producer likes it, and it spoke to them, and they wanted to take it to the next level. And you don't know what they're going to like. And then you also don't know, like I said, oh no, sorry, they did all the bunnies, so your cartoon could be genius, but they're not doing bunnies.
Oh yeah, and there's something I share in the book that talks to that exact problem. And because yeah, it's so much of that sounds like it's out of our control, and it often can be. But what I've done in animation, especially when I ran a little virtual studio out of my Brooklyn apartment when I lived in New York, is I was up for a directing job for a preschool pilot where it was fuzzy little chickens. And when I heard I was auditioning against 2 other directors, one of which had just done a fuzzy little duck cartoon that was the cutest thing ever. And I just immediately knew, okay, I'm not going to get this job because the fuzzy duck woman is going to get it, and she should get it. I don't have fuzzy ducks on my reel yet. So literally that's just what happened. She got the job and did a great job. And I didn't get that directing gig. But the lesson I got from it was, okay, next time I get a call like this, what can I do to be the fuzzy duck guy? And I got a call like that. So National Geographic rang me up just a year later and said, hey, we're going to do this project, and the designer's in Spain, and we need a director. We're going to interview 3 directors. It was the same scenario again. It was literally like my next chance to do this better. And I called, I was on the phone with Nat Geo. And I said, okay, so can you send me the art? Can I see it? And they said, yeah. So they sent me a character design. And then they said, Jack Jones, or no, Jack Johnson, I can't think of his name, was going to do the music. So I said, oh, terrific. So I found an MP3 of his, and I paired it to it. And I spent a day animating a walk cycle of that character set to the music they were going to use. And then I sent them a little QuickTime movie of it in email. And then I went to my interview. That was like a day before my interview, my official interview, where I went into Manhattan and, met the producer there. And as I walked in, they all turned and clapped. And I said, what? And they said, we didn't even interview the other 2 directors. You got the job, because I had done the sample, the exact thing they were going to make. And here I was, the fuzzy ducks guy, right? Because I made the sample.
Now you were the fuzzy duck person.
Yeah, so there was a lesson there, and I've used that a bunch of times in the years since.
But it's amazing, you don't know what it's going to be, and the bouncing ideas off people, like being very creative. And that was how I got tangled up in this, is that you sent me a cartoon too. That was like your first email. By the way, I did this weird cartoon where it's Nellie Olson. And I was like, and I was in hysterics. It was little stick people watching Little House on the Prairie. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So, but he said, okay, I like to, and because I said, I've never written a cartoon. What are you talking about? I've never written a cartoon. I've written a memoir, an autobiography.
Yeah.
And I've written stand-up comedy. And what on earth does this have to do with cartoon? I love cartoons. I'm a total cartoon junkie. Never written a cartoon in my life, not a clue. And you said, no, that doesn't matter. That you like to bounce ideas off people, maybe people aren't even in that field, to get a different take. And I was like, oh, well, that's clever. And so then so I was able to see things that you wouldn't see. And then, of course, you said, oh, well, here it works like this. And I go, oh, I never thought of that. And then next thing you know, and then there's, possums and ducks and bunnies and kittens and flying out of our heads.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I also read, you doing things creatively, trying a different format of stuff. Like, if you normally write something, try drawing it. If you normally draw something, try painting it. And switching it up, like using a different part of your brain.
Absolutely. One way I've done that is, like, when I draw, it's easy to draw, make a construction. Like if you were drawing Mickey Mouse's head, you'd, get your circle and then figure out the eyes and where the nose is and the whole structural anatomy of Mickey's head and hypothetical skull that's under those ears. That's how artists, kind of keep the form of, get the character right and can draw it consistently. But one of the things that's fun for me, if I'm doing something for myself, like I might draw with negative space. Like I might use Photoshop or the stylus I'm using and just draw the contours in negative space, and just like not draw with a line, but draw with the whole silhouette, or at once, and then just fill it with a color, and then just start working on that. Like there's that opens up whole different designs that I would have never gotten to. Like it might make me design something with a really big torso, and I think, wow, that's a cool look for a character,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have done that.
Well, I started doing that in my little notebook afterwards. I thought, what if when I have an idea, normally I think very verbally. And so I talk an idea, I would write an idea because I think in words is the stand-up comedy books. I thought, what if I drew the idea? What if I started drawing things, the idea? What would happen if I did that? Like a day glow pink marker in the margins of my notebook. And I started doing that. It was like, oh, that just makes whole other sections of my brain do like, little synapses go.
Yeah, and sometimes just finding that visual, what you're trying to express, could be better than a whole 2 pages of journaling or something.
Oh, right. Now, people say, what makes a great cartoon? We always know, like, okay, we look at all like the Disney stuff and the things that have been huge. We look at the Simpsons, these cartoons that have run for decades, and cartoons that have just really people have latched onto that they've adored. What makes a great cartoon? Because when we think of the favorite cartoons and the biggest hits, they're very, 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 very different. So what makes a great cartoon?
I think what makes a great cartoon is that personal thing you bring to it. And I love the example. I know it's a dated one now, unfortunately, but SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. I love SpongeBob.
Of course, it's wonderful.
I watch SpongeBob all the time. It's
Good.
still on.
So you'll get
go, oh, look, SpongeBob.
But like SpongeBob, so created by Steven Hillenburg, the late great Steven Hillenburg, and he was a marine biologist before becoming an animator. Studied marine biology and used to give tours, and like in the whole like touch tank and all that stuff. Like that was his passion, was marine biology, but he also had this animation dual passion, right? So he ended up putting them together with that pitch. So when he pitched an underwater show with this naive optimistic sponge, it wasn't a random thing. It wasn't like, well, there's no underwater shows since the Snorks, let me try that again.
There's no sponges as lead characters. I'll just sponge. No,
and then he made it into like
sense,
a kitchen
right.
sponge, which is really funny.
Starfish and all of these odd characters are like why would that be? Okay, where would he come up with that? And the fact that they would do those weird things where they'd go to live action and you'd have actual kitchen sponge and a starfish lying on the sand. And and so many of the characters seemed like obscure things from the ocean that the average person doesn't think of. So literally he was a marine biologist.
Yeah, and it's kind of it made that authentic that he was pitching that, and he was the guy to make that show. And then obviously the other part of it was he was a showrunner for Rocko's Modern Life at Nickelodeon, and he was already in the door and very trusted and really good. So
and Rocko's Modern Life was amazing.
There's no that didn't hurt any. So put those things together and you get SpongeBob. So, but I do think it's that personal connection to it that is really in the DNA. And another example, Gravity Falls, a much newer show, from Disney TV, is the creator, Alex Hirsch, wasn't too long out of CalArts when he pitched that and got to make it. And he grew up in the Pacific Northwest with a twin sister. And so that's what the film's about. It's about these twins, kind of having their, finding their way, as adolescents in the Northwest woods, and the magicalness of like what was magical, those giant trees that he grew up around. He just plussed it, right? He just added gnomes and all the different creatures and mythology that make it a cartoon. But the kernel of that and the heart of that show is him and his sister in this strange environment that was personal and based on his reality, his life.
The personal touch, because the idea was really going, SpongeBob is real. You're like, oh no, marine biologist, the starfish, it's real. And it's like the most unreal thing, but it was real, which is as an actor, there's a lot of situations like that. You hear about Charlie Chaplin, his first character, the drunkard that became a hit and that got him his career, they did on stage, was based on his father. Just all kinds of stuff. When they did The Honeymooners, yes, there were all the scripts and all these people involved, but there were things like, can we have the light bulb over the table like this? Because that was how my parents' apartment, when they had the single light bulb. And so there were personal things put into all the shows that have anything that's ever been a hit. There was some deeply personal, weird thing that the writer or the director inserted into the piece. That
Mhm.
becomes like later like a filmmaker trivia question, but that's why it worked, because that personal connection was there.
Oh yeah, and you know, one of the things as a teacher, I haven't taught since 2012, but when I was a teacher and I was guiding students on thesis films and animation exercises, it would really break my heart when so many students would want to focus on action scenes or like a battle between two sword wielding, knights or things like that. Where I always say to them, no, like just this morning I came out of a coffee shop, and as I was leaving the coffee shop, the dog that was chained to the light post outside the coffee shop looked at my face to see, is that my guy? Oh, it's not, and then looked away. And then I stood back and I watched that same dog check every customer out who came out waiting for its guy, right? And I just watched that little interaction and I just felt something and I thought, oh my gosh, that's a moment, that's real, that's special. And like that's what the opportunity of what animation can do. If we're observant and we look at the world around us, that's something to animate. That's something to like, plus that, like, I don't care about two knights under armor that are smashing each other with swords. Like, no one cares about that. Like, why don't you talk about, something real? So, I think the animators that are ready to do that, are the ones who end up changing the industry.
Yeah, it's not the constant focus on the technological and the special effects and like, oh, look what we can make the animation do. It's like it's character driven. Even the
Hmm.
craziest, most bizarre sci-fi far out cartoon, if it works, it's because it's character driven.
Oh yeah, it is. That's the reason you watch episodic TV anyway, right? Like I've seen Columbo maybe, 50 times each episode, and I wish there were
Right.
more of them to keep watching. But I know he's going to solve the murder. I've seen the murder myself in the first 20-minute cold open or whatever. So I know who did it, and I can't wait for them to be brought to justice. But and I know I'm tuning in because I want more Columbo. I want to be with him as he eats his beans and thinks through the case and is a fish out of water and ends up putting ashes on the carpet of that society person whose maid is freaked out by it, and like I want to see all those conflicts and all that stuff. I want more.
Right. Well, I mean, that's it. The way Little House on the Prairie worked. It's like I want those characters. I want to be with those people. I want to see those people. So that's what
Hmm.
pulled them in. And when we were pitching, that was the thing. Is like you had met many of these people before, obviously
Yeah.
doing this for years. So we go in and they'd be like, "Hi, David, hiya." But you were like, "It's like, what do you have that's new?" So you were kind of calling me like, "Well, I have this new idea. Oh, by the way, did I mention I'm bringing the actress who's Nellie Olson with me? Oh, okay."
Oh yeah, that was
Sometimes
fun.
it was totally as blatant as I have the chick who was Nellie Olson coming along. Oh, okay, fine. I love that show. Suddenly it's a different meeting. Suddenly the mood is different. They're thinking about
Hmm.
different things. Their heads in a different space. And we kind of basically took advantage of that.
That's right. Yeah, but it's really obviously the whole like how you thought about characters. I think that's been a big difference in terms of when we pitched together, as you're coming from an the actor's point of view of being inside a character, literally like
Yes.
looking at the world through a character's eyes. Like you brought that out, and like I've never been able to talk about characters the way you have in a meeting because of you being on from that side of the street. That's an amazing thing for a
And that
project.
just, yeah, that just kind of took the material and sort of flipped it. And you'd say, well, it's like, and then you had the technical stuff. Okay, yes, it's for this type of age group and it's this cartoon. And I'm going, but the possum's really happy about the thing. They're like, okay. Crazy
And then they
lady
want
is
your
talking
autograph at
about
the
how the
end.
possum feels. But that sort of made it work. But yeah, your career advice is all spot on. What do you tell people when they're, yes, you obviously know this, they're trying and trying and trying and they're not getting the job or they're getting laid off again and again? I mean, because you've done it. How do you keep
Oh my
going?
gosh. Well, yeah, I always want, when I get a specific, problem I just got one. I'm going to give a real one. A student of mine that was in my last class at 2020, I'm sorry, in 2012 at SVA, the career class. She's been out here in LA and she just wrote me that she's now couldn't find anything in the last year, and she'd worked for Disney, she'd worked for Nick, and she'd done all this storyboard work, and she was applying to it again because she took some time off to have a baby, and she was jumping back in but not getting anywhere. So I said, all right, well, why don't you send me how you've been applying to these jobs? And mind you, she was applying for storyboard jobs, which she did already for these same places. She's amazing at her job. She's an incredible storyboard artist, and anyone should hire her instantly. But so I really was curious, what is not working here? So she sends me the cover letters and resumes. And the cover letter, she sent the same cover letter to any opportunity she applied to, even if it was not a storyboard artist or if it was an animator. Like there was one, she had a one size fits all cover letter.
Oh
And
no.
so yeah, so she sent she sent the cover letter for storyboard where it said, "Hi, I'm an animator. I draw in pencils. I love animation. I'm a character animator." And it never got to the point where it said she cares about storyboards or that's her passion or that's her job or that's what she wants to do. She never got there. She just kind of made the assumption they would make the leap and they would get it and they would look deep in her resume and find that. They don't get that far. If you're a recruiter and you've got a big stack of digital submissions, you're not going to spend more than past her first opening paragraph where you're like, oh, she's not even a storyboard artist. Next. And that's what happened.
To make that mental leap. I mean, that's something actors or casting directors would say, well, the casting director will somehow make the mental leap to see you in the role. Generally not. There's like a handful of casting directors in the world who can pass something, say, yes, this person's right. Generally, and especially if they're in a hurry, and it's like, a guest star, you need to connect all the dots. You need to connect for them. They're not going to connect the dots and make a mental jump. You either brought it in or you didn't.
I hear you.
Yeah, but it's you can't just send the same thing. It's like you said, it's individual, it's personal. There's a personal aspect, and so the cover letter, it has to be different for each thing.
Definitely. And I'm sure, I would imagine it works this way. Like if you're going in to read for a part in person and it's a certain type of person and a certain level of affluence or whatever, you might pick a different shirt, right, for that to come in, because you're trying to give them all the connections they need to see you as that character. I think it's the same thing for like a cover letter or a resume. It's just basically just make a custom one each time, show that part of you. It's not about making something up or lying or being disingenuous. It's about featuring the thing you need to feature that is there, that they need to see first. And so it's editing, really, right?
Well, and you also talked a lot in the first version of this book, and you have a lot of it about it in here too, the attitude. And that was one thing I read it that just struck me when I first met you, and I read it and I'm like, oh yeah, the attitude. When you go to an audition, or you're not even in show business, you go to a job interview for a job of any kind, or you go to the animation pitch, what is your attitude? And you talk about that, just like us actors, that people who go to pitch meetings for animation are often completely terrified and are so worried about how it's going to go. They go in with like a horrible, horrible demeanor.
Yeah, either defensive or just thinking that everything is so important. Every word they choose, every like this is now or never. Just putting that level of pressure, is a killer, right? Because it can bring out our worst traits, because they really need to see you. Like if you're pitching animation, they need to see you as a partner. That it's going to take 3 years just to make season 1 in animation. So there's going to be a lot of emails, there's going to be a lot of Zooms or in-person meetings again, and they don't, they want someone they can collaborate with. So you're really demeanor, attitude, all those things, and just taking the time to make a personal connection and not just like, here's my project, like you were saying, there's all that in the beginning of the meeting is like, how are you doing? And even if we didn't know those people, you and I would always start with telling our story, you give them, flesh out your background, as an accomplished actress and author and performer. And I do the same for animation. And then we talk about how we met and why we're working together. And all that only takes 10 minutes or less.
It's a gimmick, and people say you got to have a gimmick. In a way, it was a gimmick. Oh, how'd you meet? Wait, what are you two both doing here together? What? What? It's like, well, funny you should ask. And then it's a story, and then it's interesting, and then it's like, well, wait a minute, that sounds kind of interesting. So what are you guys pitching? So it made it as opposed to, hi, I'm here again. I have another cartoon.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really, and the other thing too is like executives are ready to just not talk about themselves unless you also remind them you want them to. I think that's the other part. So after we did that, it's always like, oh, so I know you, but Allison, can you tell Allison your background? Or if I, in cases like that, or just ways to get them to do the same thing and just talk about what what their background is, why they got into the business, anything like that. Because that's stuff not to like skip. No one should be fast forwarding past that. That's just as important as the idea you take out after that.
Well, that becomes the most basic thing in any kind of thing where you talk about, making the connection, building rapport before you go into the next thing. And people forget in the job interview or audition, that's part of the picture too. That is a thing you have to do.
Absolutely.
So if someone, as you say in your book, so someone says, I want to be an animator, I want to make cartoons, and they're just starting, where do they start? What would you tell them, especially now in our insane upside down world that we're living in? What
I
would
know.
you suggest?
Gosh, I would say, there's so many ways to learn animation. So I have a whole chapter on the colleges and all the universities that specialize in it in the back. There's also Animation Mentor, which was an online animation school even before this happened, before the pandemic. So, and there's countless books and websites and places that can teach you how to animate. And animation is one of those industries that doesn't care where you went to school necessarily or what degree you have. It's really about the level, the relationships you fostered and the work you can do, and so those things are much more important than the rest. So I would just tell them to, take a deep dive, like see as much animation as you can, don't wait to do it. A lot of the people who think they want to do animation, they don't start and they don't try it. And then they end up enrolling in a very expensive, program like at NYU or SVA or somewhere, or CalArts. And that's a big investment. And just to even show up one semester and realize you have no patience for it would be, you don't have to waste your time that way. I think, what you really should do, it's kind of, imagine this. Imagine oh, I've always wanted to be an auto mechanic. I just know it. I know I'd love that. And you never get under a car. So instead of being a teenager, you never, under a car every weekend, fixing up your dad's car or buying a piece of junk and turning it road ready. You just keep it in your head. I love to fix cars. Oh, I know I'm going to love that. And then one day you go to, auto repair school and you're like, oh, what? I'm going to get greasy. I'm going to, I have to get under that and that can fall on me. And what's the carburetor? And
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Right. But that's what animation people do. Like, cause it's fun to watch. So it's gotta be fun to make. And I know I want to do it. No, you don't really. And like the way you can learn if it's fun
early
to do.
Book say this may be how you find out you shouldn't be doing this
Exactly.
as a career by reading this book.
You're right. Yeah. And I think that's right. It's cheaper than going to school. Read the book and talk yourself out of it. Read the book
and then, but yeah, the thing of never stopping, educating yourself. Now, where are you now? Tell everyone where you're working now. And I there's probably projects you cannot tell us.
Yeah, I'll keep it.
But what are you allowed to tell us that you're working on?
Well, it's been fun. So like I'm at Disney 8 years now. I think my 8-year anniversary is in March. So like right at my 8-year anniversary. This half I worked for I managed animation for apps and games like for the first half of that, and then I switched to the YouTube and social media side after that. So that's where I've been for the last 5 years. And I had a little boutique animation studio within Disney, aligned with Disney Plus. And so we're a team of 8, counting me. I have 5 producers. I have 2 artists. And we all wear a lot of hats. Like our producers write scripts and lead projects and direct, and our animators write and design and direct and animate in 2D and 3D and in any ways and styles you could need. And we make projects in support of Pixar movies, Lucasfilm, Disney, Walt Disney feature animation, sometimes consumer products, and things like princess franchises like that, the Villains franchise. So we pitch original content supporting Disney initiatives. So and sometimes we just pitch ideas that can be aligned to those initiatives by other people. So it's really fun.
Crazy thing now. You have a show. You say, well, we have this movie, but the movie and it's a TV series. Oh wait, it's an app. It's a game, toy. It's a YouTube. It's an interactive website based on the characters. And there's just all this sort of like endless different forms that it morphs into. And so you're dealing with the morphing into the different forms.
Yeah, and they're all ways to direct back to whatever the initiative is. So if I'm in Disney Plus and I make a short that we just made, you could find it. It's called Pixar Remix Up. One of my talented producers wrote it and directed and produced it, Joseph Cervantes. And in this short, we reimagined the movie Up, which is a Pixar feature film, in a 1.5-minute anime intro sequence. So we basically compressed the whole story of that movie into a 1.5 minutes of anime style action and fun.
That's hysterical because Up is so not anime. It's the thing, you get the dog and the balloons.
Yeah.
Like suddenly now it's anime.
And what's really fun about that is, it directs the conversation back to the Pixar film you can find on Disney Plus. But it gives people something to share and to enjoy and to like and to comment on and to experience that story in a new way. So those are the kind of things my team and I develop and pitch and create, and it's so much fun. And we don't get to walk the red carpet. We're not going to win an Emmy. Like there's other awards for online stuff, but we're not where the action is in terms of things like that. But I think freedom wise and to get to make something quirky and cool and to get to make a lot of different quirky and cool things, like it's a great place to be.
Awesome. Where can people find you, and where can they find your fabulous book?
Wow. I think, well, if you can find me right here with Allison Arngrim. I'm going to be here every day. I'm just kidding. The book.
I'm in the book, by the way.
Yes, you are.
I do. I get mentioned in the book. He talks about me in the book.
In more than one place. Oh yeah. Your photo is in there too.
My picture. I didn't find my picture yet.
Yeah,
my picture's in there. Shut up. Where's my picture?
I don't have the page number memorized, so you'll find it.
That's hysterical. I will find
it.
myself. I found where you talked about me. Thank you. It was lovely.
Oh, you're welcome.
But yes, so where do they get the book? Where do they find you? Is there a website?
So wherever books are sold still, so I know when I did a quick search, I know Walmart selling it. I know Amazon obviously is selling it. It was the original version of the book was at Barnes & Noble. You can probably still find this there. So I'd say, wherever books on animation and entertainment are stocked, it should show up. It's published by Allworth Press, and I'm a big shout out to them.
Animation, that's what you say.
Yeah, your career in animation. So, but Amazon's a great place to get it, because wherever you live, you can have it sent to you.
And where on the web can we see your work? This thing, like for instance, the anime version of Up.
Yeah, I'd say, well, you could look at that on if you just search. It's on the Pixar's YouTube page. You can search for the Pixar channel. But if you just type in Pixar Remix Up, and we did another one called Pixar Remix WALL-E, where we did the whole story of WALL-E in a 16-bit video game style, which is really fun.
It's kind of crazy. Okay, so that's where we can find you. We can look for you there, and we can get your book. And do you have a website yourself?
I don't at the moment. Yeah, I'm kind of in my. Unfortunately, look, here's a career problem in the making. So I'm in my Disney bubble, and it's easy to kind of entomb yourself. But it's for right now. I'd say the book is a good way to kind of say hello, and certainly if anyone wants to reach out on LinkedIn, I'm always open to that too.
All right, awesome. Thank you for coming on. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in ages. Eventually, we'll, I don't know, you can come over. We'll stand in the driveway in masks or something and say
awesome.
hi.
That sounds great.
So good to see you, and thank you for coming on the show. Always a delight. And if you want to come and just come on, hang out every weekend.
Thank you so much. And your generosity, to extended invitation is really appreciated, and it's a great way to hang out. We got to hang out today.
And your book is fabulous, so I wanted people to see it. So there you are. Thank you for being in the Allison Arngrim Show. And hello, yes, this is the Allison Arngrim Show, and thank you for watching. I'm Allison Arngrim.
I found